Hello, everybody, and welcome to the top 5 new comics for January 16th and 17th of 2024. I'm, as always, Chris, and we got a great week of comics for you to look forward to this week. So let's hop right in. I'm going to start with Avengers Twilight number 1. This is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Daniel Acuna. Listen, I absolutely love Chip Zdarsky and his writing. I can't think of a book he's done recently that I haven't enjoyed. I can't even think of a book he's done in his career that I haven't enjoyed, at the very least. But he has been on a roll of the past 5-6 years, I'd say. Did Daredevil, Howard the Duck, all of his independent work from the Public Domain. The Justice League book he did. List goes on. And now he's back at Marvel with an Avengers title set in the future, kind of a cyberpunk Avengers book. Everything here is lined up to be a home run. And I can't think of a reason why this shouldn't be, if not the book to look forward to this week, one of the top 5. I mean, it's on my list, obviously, so it's here. But everybody, any Marvel fan, any Avengers fan, this is the book. Like, I feel it in my bones that this is gonna be one of those books at the end of the year I'm gonna be talking about as one of the best of the year. And we'll see. It's a lot of hype to live up to, but I have the utmost faith in this creative team, and Chip to write a great story, and Daniel Acuna to do some amazing art, and just knock it out of the park. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. After that, I've got Batman Superman, World's Finest number 23. This is written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora. If you haven't been reading World's Finest, I know you're missing one of the best books that is being published right now. And not only that, but one of the best books that's being published for it's going on in its second year in terms of issues out there. And it's just been so freaking good. And what's so impressive about this book isn't just the quality here, but this is another book that it set expectations. Like, Mark Waid's coming back to DC. Mark Waid's doing a Superman book, but not just a Superman book. He's doing the World's Finest book. So the two top characters in all of DC, two that Mark has written a billion times and nailed it out of the park. And it's great. It's so good from start to finish. It's so good that they gave Mark side titles that work into this continuity, even though this continuity is a part of past continuity DC. But put that aside, there's a Teen Titans book that's spinned out of this. We're getting an annual here soon. And then, if that wasn't enough, Mark goes, what if we do a Kingdom Come story? And he nails it. I can't think of more hype being put into a book from day one from a writer who's, listen, we just talked about Chip and how I said I can't think of a single book he's done that's bad. I'm sure that's me not remembering the book that he wrote that I didn't like, because every creator's got those books. No creator bats 1,000. Mark Waid's one of the best to ever do it. Mark Waid's got some books I don't like out there. He's got some bad books out there. And people will agree, disagree, whatever. But just every creator misses sometimes. And this was lined up in my eyes to be a miss, because it's Mark Waid took a break from writing comics. Mark Waid, there was this narrative about him in DC out there. He comes back and he takes on this book. He brings in all the things I already said. And it's amazing. It's so good. This is this reminded me, I've tried every Batman Superman book, every World's Finest book that there has been in my time reading comics. And I always find that while some are really good, some aren't so good, so on and so forth, they never reach the potential of what a Batman Superman World's Finest book can be. This is one of the first times where I think we hit that standard. And I can't talk about it enough. And then I'm going on and on about Mark Waid. Another super impressive thing is Dan Mora's on the art. Not only is Dan Mora killing it on this art, every panel, every page is top-notch, phenomenal art, but he hasn't missed in a single issue that I can remember. I'm pretty sure it's not a single issue. Artists don't do that nowadays. That's not a thing. And then if you want to add on top of that, he was doing this book and decided, hey, I'll do the Shazam book with Mark, do the first 6 issues. Now, he missed the 7th issue. I think he's back for the 8th. But still, that means that Dan Mora last year put out 18 issues of comics. This is no offense to any other creator out there, but most creators have a hard time hitting 10 issues, hitting 11 issues. It's almost unheard of to hit 12. And Dan Mora did 18 issues last year. It's everything around this book is just top-notch, great hype. I love where the story's going here. If you haven't read World's Finest, this is probably a terrible place to jump on, but go back and read it, catch up, because it's worth every single amount of hype it's been given. Now, after that, I've got Superman number 10. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Bruno Redondo. So, Superman's a tough character for me because I love the idea of Superman. I love the character of Superman. I think Superman's one of the, as we just talked about in the last issue of World's Finest, Superman is one of the top characters of all time and definitely one of the top characters at DC. But Superman's a character that's tough to nail because so many people want to get a little bit too complicated with him, in my eyes. I think Superman's, not that Superman's easy, but I think people try too hard to do things with Superman. And when you go kind of simple and you go with that, just that old school, that Boy Scout, that guy that is the shining beacon to the rest of the DC universe that presents himself as perfect, presents himself as Superman. And you can pull back the curtain to reveal flaws along the way. That's when you know, that's when a creator gets Superman right, in my eyes. And this run's been just that, like bringing the idea of Lex in jail, Lex trying to rehabilitate himself, realizing that being a villain's not all it's cracked up to be. Now, has it been done before? Yes. A lot of the characters were jumping in with this. Bringing in Parasite in the first couple issues was great. And the Unchained, which I believe is a new character for this most recent one. And now we end the last issue, spoilers, but it's right there on the cover. We end the last issue, Superman goes back in time, he's in the Old West. It sounds like a blast to me. If we don't see Jonah Hex, Joshua Williamson, I'm taking off the top 5. But all joking aside, it's just been an amazing book. And then I think it was last issue, Bruno Redondo jumped onto this book and is the artist on it. And Bruno, from everything I've seen, I haven't been reading it personally. From everything I've seen, has been killing on Nightwing. The last issue of this was just phenomenal. He's making a big name for himself in DC and comics in general. Like, he's just an amazing artist. So Superman, I mean, it's often I get excited for a new Superman book. It's very rare that on issue 10, I'm telling you it's one of the top 5 books of the week. So it's worth a read. It's worth checking out. Loving Superman. After that, we've got James Bond 007 number 1. This is written by Garth Ennis with art by Artist-Rapha Lobosco. So all honesty here, I really love James Bond. the character has always been someone I enjoyed. Before I was ever into comics, I was into James Bond. The GoldenEye book from back when I was a kid, or sorry, the GoldenEye video game from back when I was a kid, is one of the best memories I have, and playing it with my friends and all that, to watching the movies with my dad. I just love James Bond. The simplicity of this character, the super spy who can do no wrong, everything there. And then not only has Dynamite just been doing a phenomenal job being stewards of this IP, getting top tier talent to write and draw James Bond and putting out great stories. But here we are again with a new miniseries. Another thing I love, constant miniseries. We're not doing an ongoing where it's constantly switching off. We're just doing miniseries. Not overly worried with continuity. Just, it seems like these creators get to pick a time, pick a place, and just tell a cool Bond story. And now we got Garth and Rapha just coming on the book. I'm super excited. This is another one. I think the Dynamite Bond books, there's been ones that are better than others, obviously, but for the most part, I've enjoyed every single one that's come out. It's at least done the job of being an entertaining Bond book. So, and to get Garth, I mean, come on. Of course, I'm going to check this out. And we're going to end. And this is the definition of last but not least here, with The Weatherman, Volume 3, Number 1. This is written by Jody LeHeup with art by Nathan Fox. I am so happy The Weatherman is back. When this was coming out, the first 2 volumes of this came out. It's been probably 4 or 5 years since the last issue came out. It feels like it's been 20, but The Weatherman was consistently my favorite book coming out the week it came out. I love this book so much. This weird cyberpunk future, Earth is uninhabitable. You got this guy who's literally a weatherman on TV on Mars, and we find out there's more to him. It's such a smart and good science fiction story. It's hard to really express how good it is. I honestly thought, like, I read volume 1 and I fucking loved it. I loved every inch of that book. And I remember thinking, I was like, damn, that was such a good book. I'll never see a volume 2. And not because it wasn't good enough, or not because it didn't demand a volume 2, but because I saw no one else talking about this book. I feel like I was the only person in comics talking about this book. And then volume 2 got announced. I was like, oh shit, we're going to get volume 2. Okay. Felt the same way. Loved every inch of that book. Read the whole thing. Loved it. Got to the end. Had the same feeling. There's no way this continues. It's really good, but I don't see a lot of people talking about it in my sphere. I'm sure you're going to send me somebody who was talking about this book at some point. But in my sphere, I just didn't see people talking about it. It was a book that I couldn't recommend enough. I wanted everybody to be reading it because I wanted more people to love it like I did. And years went by. If we're being honest, at one point, you read so much stuff, you see so much stuff, you kind of forget about it. And then I see this little announcement that this book with The Weatherman, Volume 3 is coming out. And I'm like, oh man. I was so happy in that moment because that's just, like, I've said it 1,000 times already, but it was just a book I love so much. And now it's back. And we're going to continue the story with the same creative team too. It's such a blessing this book is back. I'm glad that these guys got a chance to do it. I know Jody was doing Shirtless Bear Fighter. He got a volume 2 of that. He's been doing a few things here and there. I know that comics aren't his day job either, so you got to put priorities where they are. But I honestly, just thought this book was dead in the water, and I was so happy that two volumes came out. They were great. I loved it, but now for another one. I mean, come on. Now I don't know if I said it in the beginning. Actually, I do know I said it. I'm just trying to build the tension a little bit here. But this week, there's so much hype behind this week for me going into the comic shop. I don't know about all of you, but like I read comics every week. I read a lot of comics. Doing what we do, being lucky enough to have people watch me. I get comics for review. I buy the comics I have. There's a mess behind me because I'm trying to catalog all the goddamn comics I own. And you go in some weeks and you're excited for books. You like books. I do this top 5. I'm not lying to you when I say like I think these are gonna be the top 5 books of the week. These are the books I'm really excited to go and read. But I won't lie to you now to say that some weeks you're just like, okay, it's another week. Like listen, you get the books that you always get. I buy my Captain America. Is it in my top 5 every week? No, but I love Captain America. So you're going through the motions a little bit there. The book is good, bad, whatever it is. More often than not, I find myself these days with good books. That's why it's so hard to tear down that pull list a little bit and save some money. But you do find yourself kind of going through. This week, I went through and I saw what was coming out, and from start to finish, I couldn't believe this was a week in comics. I cannot wait for Wednesday to come. I'm a firm believer in Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. There's a part of me that says I'll go in Tuesday and Wednesday because I have so much across the board that looks good. So it's going to be a good week in comics, what I'm saying. I hope you all enjoy. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to remind everybody, if you're enjoying this series, like, subscribe, share, comment down below, and share it out with your friends. Share what we're doing here at Fortress Comics. If you really think it's a good product and you want to help it grow, that's the number one thing right there, is sharing. And I appreciate every single one of you that does so, that likes the videos, is subscribed to this channel, and that comments. And I was thinking about it last week. I was saying in the old version of this video, and I'm going to say it here now. When you comment down below, let me know, like, any of my top 5 in your top 5, what did I miss? What's the book that you're like, damn, Kristen picked, blank? What's the book in my top 5 that you just cannot believe that I picked? How dare he pick Avengers Twilight? That book's going to be awful. Whatever it is, I want to hear from you down below what you're thinking and what books you're looking forward to. Maybe there's a book out there I'm not reading that you're like, Chris, come on. Really, you're not reading Nightwing? Like, come on. Maybe not, but let me know down below. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all here next time.